whatever. I can just be up here like,
yeah.
Hey, Alice. Thanks for finding your way down the hole again. I have some very serious gunslingers in the house tonight. Per the usual, a regular on the show, we got Sidney Mays joining us. And for the first time, we have Cody Parson here as well.
howdy, howdy.
Thanks for being here, man.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
Oh yeah, of course. I've seen you play around town.
Off and on over the years.
Yeah, off and on over the years.
Sometimes I'm playing 3 or 4 times a month. Other times it's once in 3 or 4 months. So,
and this will actually go up right before my birthday.
Tight.
So
excellent.
Yeah, if you're watching this around the time it releases, come out to Underdog on April 5th. This motherfucker and the Heavy Change is going to be playing. And we have the rest of the lineup's also extremely impressive. So I could not be more excited about it.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
I'm excited. I love that room too. Underdog's fun.
It is.
I remember when it was turn 1, about 10 years back. It was a lot scrappier, a little nastier.
I've heard.
The wall in the center wasn't there. There wasn't the 2 rooms kind of thing. It was like one big open dive bar. Margot shot her Hurting on the Bottle video there. And my old band Whiskey Angel we had a residency there for 2 months.
Well,
so I played every Sunday for 2 months back in like 2014, when Underdog was turned 1.
Oh, so this will be nostalgic.
Yeah, oh yeah. We played, I guess my first time back there was last fall. And coming in, I was like, bro, this is a completely different place. It feels different. But it felt the same in a good way.
Was that the Big Shrimp show?
Yes, it was. Did you see they broke up?
I did.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate too. And like there's a whole thread about them in jam bands on Reddit. There's like a big Shrimp appreciation thread. I was like, man, I knew this community cared about those dudes. They're really good.
Yeah.
It's just like one of those sad instances of like somebody who's incredibly talented that comes by on the road through the city and just like can't get their dues, don't get their dues. I tell people sometimes Mojo is the whole reason with Mojo. I like kind of pitched it to Gil. And I was like, man, this band is really, really, really good.
They are.
Put them on a freaking Fat Country New Faces night with a bunch of people like that, and they'll do great. And Gil messaged me the next day and was like, yo, your boys were fire. I was like, yeah, I told you they were great.
Yeah, shout out Mojo here. Those guys
Great.
are dope.
Great band.
Yeah, man. So you have been very influential in the scene here and in Clarksville and doing things in Middle Tennessee, that possum stock, man. You've done a lot for artists here in the community. Do you have any advice for anyone coming up, trying to play music?
It's I rock back and forth on this a lot. Like when me and Sidney kind of met, we had a lot of these kind of talks a couple of years ago when we first started really getting to know each other. It's a double-edged sword, really. There's 2 ways you can kind of approach a lot of things. I think sometimes that maybe I've approached things the wrong way in certain instances, but with time and age, recollection comes back up and you start to reflect on things. I think, honestly, do your best to support as many people as you can anywhere across the board, because you never know who's going to wind up where. I actually, when I was in my meeting earlier with Lightning, I brought up, because Freeze is playing the 10-year anniversary at Possum. He's like one of our headliners. And Dan was like, Freeze? And I pulled up a picture from like 2016 of Freeze on my shoulders at a house show. I'm like, or at a show, a Wicked Good show. I was like, yeah, I've been Freeze for like a decade, bro. Yeah. And it's, look at him now. Look at the stuff he's doing now. And the same kind of instance, especially in this city, you never know who somebody's going to play in the next room to that's going to impress them. You never know how things are going to roll.
No doubt.
And good intentions go so much further than it sounds just arguable, but good intentions, I feel like, go so much further than like any form of talent can take you.
Oh,
If you're
sure.
humble and a good
Yeah.
person and a nice person, then that's going to take you further than just being the hot shot.
It's all
That is
about
ever
the
gonna
name.
take you.
I started this show. It'll be 4 years in April. And
Oh,
when I
congrats.
thank you. And when I first started this, like,
So you started this pandemic year.
yes,
Dang, what a weird thing to navigate through too.
it was a good time and a bad time to start a podcast.
You're
weird.
probably giving a lot of people that at that point, because our whole industry was like on pause.
Yeah.
You were giving people a platform that didn't have a platform
Yeah.
at that point, man.
Yeah, well, thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate
that's
that.
important.
But it, like, there were definitely people then that just like totally snubbed me. That like now are like, hey, can I come on the show? And I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. But like it's like you're saying, you never know who's gonna come up,
You never know.
and so like be nice to everybody.
It-
Like, yeah, I mean, I feel like that's just good life advice. in
Exactly.
general.
That can take you far in whatever
Yeah.
you're doing, honestly. The Jimmy Iovine quote that I always come back to when people ask me, like, do you have advice for somebody trying to get in the music like mix, trying to get in the game? While being nice to everybody is important and maintaining humility and like really trying to be a good community driven artist. Jimmy Iovine once said, I don't know if you know Jimmy Iovine, definitely he's Interscope. He's basically one of the greatest producers of all time.
Okay.
Jimmy Iovine said nobody ever got anywhere worried about anybody else.
Yeah, you gotta focus on what you're doing. Yeah, that's something I've learned. Like I'm not a musician, but like with the show, like I don't chase anybody.
Mhm.
You know, it's like,
Amen.
if you want to come do this, like I'll literally talk to anybody about anything.
Anything.
But like if you don't want to, that's totally fine too. You know, like
Right. It's
like I'm not
a double-edged
gonna
sword.
worry about that. Yeah, you gotta worry about what you're doing and yourself, and like you know, the Gunk House.
Yeah.
Guys.
Garrett.
Yeah.
I love Garrett. He's a great guy. I have an emo band I play with too, sometimes called Toxic Patterns, and we played last fall.
Fuck
Oh yeah.
Yeah, dude. So
That's awesome. Yeah, shout out to Gunk House. They're
yeah, Gunk
great
House rocks.
dudes.
That's a good dude.
I had Garrett and Will from Cave Hole and Gunk House on, and like like I sent him my calendar, like I showed it to you too.
Yeah, yeah.
And, like I get out a lot, and he's like, how do you decide like what to go to and what not to go to? And I was just telling him, like, the people that are loyal to you and like show you
They're
love,
gonna stay in your DMs and be like,
Yeah.
"Yo, bro, I'm looking forward to seeing you."
Yeah.
You're
Show
gonna
them
build that
love.
community and build the friendship,
Yeah.
man. Absolutely,
Be genuine about it.
Yeah.
You know?
absolutely.
It's a big thing.
That's another hard thing. Like you've had to navigate it out. I know you have. Like there is an air of professionalism in this industry, but there's like also with that, because we're in the entertainment industry, there's a huge air of bullshit. And navigating whether somebody's sitting across the table from you being real with you or being like full of shit sometimes is hard to navigate.
Yeah.
However, just like you pointed out a minute ago, the guy that didn't want to be across the table from you, didn't care that much 2 years ago, might care entirely tomorrow. It might be about every fucking second you have to say something.
Well, after he sees you on here, he'll be,
They'll be like, "Oh God, I gotta stay away now." That's smoke.
fuck, I was gonna go on.
I was
there.
gonna go, but this guy. Yeah, it's my favorite word to use to people too. I'm just like, bro, I'm a schmuck. Like, come on now.
I really have, I do this because I have a good time doing it. And like, I think success is, I'm already successful because I'm doing exactly what I want to do.
Amen.
And
That's a really smart and a healthy way to look at it.
yeah, I'm already living what I want to live. So it's
Right.
like, I mean, obviously there's things I want, right? But like,
Always. But
like,
if you
there's
can be
always room
happy
to
with
grow,
what you
but
have,
yeah.
that's what I kind of think is almost the trick sometimes as an artist, Sid, is like, and you get this because you're a guy that absolutely pours your life into what you do. And it's in the entertainment industry, like I thought there's a long time I thought I poured my life into what I did. Then I meet people like you, and I'm like, oh, okay, I still got a lot of room to grow. But
Thank
you can get into like a middle like heads. You can get trapped thinking that like I'm never gonna, I'm never gonna escape this. And I'll be transparent. The last few years, like post COVID, that kind of stuff. I mean, I've been doing a lot of the stuff I do since 2014, so like 10 years. And post COVID, man, it was the first time like I woke up and I was like, I got to do something more with my life. Like I'm not doing enough. This isn't enough. I haven't. This isn't the answer I'm looking for.
I think that's the mark of a true artist is like
satisfaction is the enemy.
Yeah, like that and like it. Yeah, you can see it when either of you play a show. Like you're doing this because you have to. Like
it's a hell of a way to put it.
It's not like it's necessary,
right?
Like art is not always a want. Sometimes it really fucking hurts. Like when you really pour your heart out, like that's not fun.
Absolutely,
that's necessary. It's like a kind of exorcism. Like you're getting something out of it.
I cannot agree more.
Yeah,
I cannot agree more.
And you can tell when someone is like, I think some artists that are not genuine, like they're trying to, I don't know, make money. Which is like, if you're trying to make money, get in any other industry.
Yeah, bro. Any other industry for this one. Good God.
Yeah.
There's no money.
But you can tell when like that's the motivation or like this is what I do. Like this is the only thing that not the only thing I can do, but I have to do this.
Right. Exactly.
And like the people that are not genuine about it aren't aware of this, that like the audience can tell, but as an audience member,
absolutely
when someone is like doing what they have to do. Like you're a good example of that because you pour your fucking heart out. Like we've had a lot of conversations about this. You have a message and you are very deliberate about the songs you make. It comes from here, and that's actually that leads me into the next question. Like when you're writing, where do you think art comes from?
Well, to kind of spin off what you said, in my own experience as an artist, I would like to get up and say that like the most joyous times of my life have been my biggest output, but it's really the opposite. When I've dealt with the most things, like, so my answer to that would probably be from pain.
Yeah.
I lost my father in 2013. He overdosed shooting up Opanas, and I didn't realize, like at the time until I got a bit older, I had started writing songs about my childhood with him. My old band, my stepbrother's in. Me and my stepbrother are the two guitar players, and our parents got together when we were like 10. So I wound up writing a bunch of songs about like our childhood, my dad making meth, and all this kind of stuff, and that all just came like that art came from just reality. That was all just real. And I found out I wrote the song, it became like one of our anthem songs, my old band, Whiskey Angel. It's called Scirocco. It's based on a Volkswagen Scirocco from '87 my dad made meth out of. So I found out years later though, like kind of more in a retrospect to myself, I was like, because I had a terrible relationship with my father my whole life until the last year he was alive. And then he and I kind of reconnected and he became like one of my friends. So it was almost fitting that I had turned around and wrote all these like romanticized rock songs about what a piece of shit he was. Yeah. Whether it was like making meth or being like a fucking felon or whatever it was. But it took me nearly a decade of after him dying for me to realize like I didn't write those songs for him. I wrote them for me.
Yeah.
And it was like, how did I really and it made me start questioning, did I let go a lot of the pain I had connected to my father in my life because I wrote these songs about him? And it's different when you like, you're confessing your love, how much you care about somebody to a lover or something. A lot of those songs and the messages in some of these songs were things I felt like I had been trying to save my dad my whole life. And it becomes this outlet and it becomes like, pain is my main answer from that, Alex, because like it's been mine. It's been my best songs. I feel all come from some of the darkest times of my life.
I can relate to that because I don't know why, but it seems like I could never write a song that says I love you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's harder.
It's not there.
It's harder.
Yeah. I do a lot of poetry, and my stuff is like my voice when I write is not. It doesn't sound like me. Like it sounds like it's a different person, and it's like not that it isn't genuine, but it's like I guess things I can't say. Uh,
You can
with my
say
normal
there.
voice, yeah, almost like a persona.
Like blurry face.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm trying to, because like a lot of the stuff I write is like very like aggressive and like
That wouldn't surprise me though, just from like the little, the little interpersonal interactions you and I have had, because some people, because I feel like you don't have a mean bone in your body, but when it comes to your art, maybe that's where it has to be released,
yeah, yeah. Man, it's funny you'd say that because I definitely do have demons.
Right, right.
I have, in complete transparency, like I have hurt, like I'm not the kind of person that would like yell at a stranger.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very cordial and polite, but when I like the people I hurt are the people closest to me, and it's like they get the brunt of.
They see the bad Alex.
Yeah, and like this is something as I'm getting older, like I'm aware of this, so I'm very conscious about it. But like my granddad was an abuser. Like he was very uh, damaging to my mom and my grandma, and like I've got something from him in me, and it's something I'm aware of. So I like um, in like Jungian psychology, like Carl Jung talks about how you can't once you become aware of what your demons are, because everyone has these things.
Right.
It's different for everyone, but once you become aware of it, you can't push it away because then that's when it's going to rear its head, and when you least want it to happen.
Right.
But you can learn to integrate it and channel
Embrace
it in a way that's so like there is a part of me that like wants to fight, and it's I've just learned that okay, well I have like a very strong sense of justice where it's like okay, well the thing I'm going to fight is evil, and there's plenty of evil to fight in the world.
Yes.
It's in me, and it's in the world outside of me. But I think that's part of adulthood is understanding that you are capable.
The duality
of
absolutely.
Evil.
Yeah. You're capable of being just as shitty as you are as being good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, I'm gonna cut off the air. Go ahead. I can see that. I think a lot of times it's easier from an artistic point of view to dance with the pain and to embrace those kind of pains and make something from it.
Because you can kind of hide behind the music almost.
Yeah, when I dated a girl like many years ago, somebody kind of brought up to me, like it was out the gate when you play guitar, you get it, Sid. Like one of the first things that some women will typically ask you, like, when are you gonna write a song for me? Or like one of those kind of things. And I'll never forget a girl kind of brought it up once. She was like, we've been together all summer. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not writing songs. So I'm busy going out doing stuff, being happy with you. Like, I'm not tore up and, or crying my eyes out in the bathroom or like breaking shit.
That's when the songs come.
Exactly. That's when they come. That's for some of us.
Yeah.
For some of us. I think to be honest, like that's one of the odd things we see in the duality of pop music a lot of times. Like on one hand, you have something that's like, kind of like a teenage, like a young, youthful. You can name like any of the basic stuff. I mean, Rex Orange County, all those kind of. There's a bunch of like indie young pop thing that's that whole side of it. But then you have like Sam Smith performance at the Grammys last year side of it, where it's like this dark, esoteric, like we're gonna basically take this happy sound and clothe it in something very dark. Because to some people, they process art better that way.
Yeah. And
like, yeah, Tom Petty had he spoke in an interview once. He said, I was at the happiest point of my life when I wrote Free Falling. He's like, but you know how many songs I was in an awful place for and wrote? pretty much all the rest of them, you know, like not good places. It's not always good, you know? And I think maybe that's part of the duality of just like being anyone that's going to output, whether it be poetry, whether it be music, film. I've met a lot of people in the past couple of years that have really moved me on, you know, 2-minute pieces of film, like I met a lot of people from the Nashville Film Institute. My friend June graduated last year. I was doing a podcast with him for a minute where I was interviewing bands and recording them live. And he did one that was like a little parallel to the Russian-Ukraine war. It is like 2 minutes long. And it was incredibly moving. And I was like, that's another instance where everything doesn't have to be sunshine and daisies, you know? Where sometimes the pain is gonna like, that's what it takes.
And that's a lot of my like favorite shit as like a consumer of art is like, oh, you feel that too.
Exactly.
I'm not alone.
Absolutely.
Like, we're all going.
That it's why I think so many of us empathize with it and like gravitate towards it sound wise.
Yeah.
Because it's like, bro, I know what he was feeling when he fucking wrote this. I've been there, bro. I know what you feel.
So art comes from pain. I think I can agree with that. I'm trying like because my shit's like angry. It's not
so much hurt.
Yeah,
it's just angry.
It's like I can't write from like a happy place, kind of like you were talking about with Tom Petty, like for most of his career. But like I'm trying to move into like at least like emo sad stuff instead of so fucking aggro and angry. Because that's like how my voice comes out when I write. And it's like that's not who I am, you know? Like I think that was when I was in an angsty phase, I think that was that was important to do, but like that's not what I want to make anymore. You know?
For sure. It's a weird thing if you let it kind of flow naturally. If you don't have you have no kind of preconceived notions of like, you don't have a plan for it. Say if like it's free flow, you're letting it out. It's like today I wake up, I'm pissed off that the electric companies charging me $80 more on I did not sign up for this, damn it.
Yeah.
But other days you're like wake up and you're just like, I'm gonna cry when I look in the mirror in the bathroom because I'm heartbroken over this person that I'm in love with that doesn't care about me at all. And like there's different levels to the anxiety, I guess. And I think it's so fundamental to explore all of that. Yeah. Because that's how you're gonna find your best art.
Yeah.
All the facets of like what make your there's a word for this. We're getting back. You were bringing up I think about Kantian theory a lot. I studied ethics in college a little bit, and like you get into the place of like, if you don't act, are you in a better position overall, or are you inevitably just stuck because you don't act? And that's why some people get caught in anxiety. They don't want to do certain things or take certain actions because they're like, everything's going to change now. And I've already learned to cope with getting up and cussing myself in the mirror every morning.
It's comfortable.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's another destroyer of creativity.
Comfort.
Yes. That's the Jack White theory. It's like the more comfortable you are, get it out.
Yeah.
Upset your life. There needs to be some chaos somewhere that you have to react to.
I heard Kevin Parker say in an interview that he's most creative when he's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So what he does is he gets high and like goes into the shops because if he's high in public, he's like paranoid.
Anxiety,
so he does it on
social
purpose,
anxiety.
and he's like, he starts writing stuff down.
He's like, I'm Kevin Parker. God, somebody's gonna come ask me about something. He's an odd dude too, man.
Yes.
Like he's a trip. He's one of those.
So awkward.
I think he's such a great example of the testament of how people can like, and it's just proof that in the world and the fucking vastness of it, there's no right way to do anything in our industry. You know, there's so many avenues people take, so many different ways. It's like, look at that dude. You can't attribute anything on any of those Tame Impala albums to anyone else but that guy. And like, that's huge. Look how freaking big that band is.
One of my favorites.
And then flip the script where you look at a band like My Morning Jacket, where it's like, that band is only that band because it's those 5 guys together doing that, you know? Yeah. And it's the difference and that's just a proof that like there's no right way and everybody's got the different, everyone can do it in different ways. Yeah. Kevin Parker is such a good example of it because he's like the professor.
Love that dude.
Psych professor. Yeah. I'm doing psychedelic drugs. I'm making rock for everybody. Then I'm making all my friends to play with me.
You make a good point that it's not one size fits all. Like even like the idea of genre is kind of detrimental.
Oh man, and it's going out the window further than ever now.
Yeah. Because I would agree.
It really is.
It's like we're like Deftones meets new
It's everything.
9 Inch
New York
Nails,
Dolls.
and it's like, no, you're your own person who should have their own sound. You can be inspired by people, but I think even the idea of genre can be destructive.
I think, yeah, absolutely. And I still, luckily, I think, honestly, the industry as we know it is almost like, and I brought this up to somebody recently. I had a discussion about this. If we look at Casey, Jelly Roll's guitar player. Casey grew up playing with Matt and Dalton from my band. He's from Dixon. Just kind of goes full circle how it shows. Like 10 years ago, he was drumming for my band, with my bandmates in a backstone of a printing shop. And now he's Jelly Roll's guitar player. But Jelly Roll 8 years ago was playing shows for 30 people in Clarksville with Warehouse. So
No shit.
yeah, dude,
Is that where he's from?
He's been around for, no, he's from here. He's from like Antioch. He's from like Middle Tennessee. Yeah.
Really?
That's why he's played around. There's a meme that
He
right
is,
when he was blowing up.
He is huge now. No pun
Huge.
intended.
When he was blowing up, there was like, this is how you met Jelly Roll. And it was like the version that the mainstream radio version we all know now. And the other one was like, this is how I met Jelly Roll. And it's his cover of his like Waffle House EP. And he's like, and it's like, bro, that's way different 10 years ago. But it just kind of goes to show, look at somebody that from like a technical perspective, he's not making country music until recently, but now it's still like hip hop. But look, we turn around and just to fucking shake the game up even more, Jelly Roll hits new country artist of the year, yada yada. 6 months, not 6 months, 3 months later, Beyonce releases a freaking country song.
I heard about that.
Yeah.
And it's number one on country Billboard radio.
That's wild.
That's like a mic drop.
Fucking wild.
And it's wild because that, who's to say, in X amount of years, Kevin Parker does ayahuasca somewhere and is like, no, bro, I want to go make a country record. It's like you don't think country sight can happen? Like, there's 100 other bands I can give you lists for that happening.
Yeah.
So,
all the genres are all like molding together now.
Cosmic Country. That's
Exactly. Yeah. There you go, Daniel.
Yep.
Perfect. There's somebody right there. Sight Country, Cosmic Country, Daniel.
You ever heard of Cosmic Country?
Daniel Donato.
Daniel Donato used to play on Broadway with Don Kelly.
I know that name. Donato?
Yeah.
Yeah. Kelly Slinger.
Fantastic player.
Insane guitar player.
Okay.
Crazy good guitar player.
Huh. But it's like, be nice to everyone because you never know.
You never know
You
where
never
anybody's
know.
going to end up
Yeah.
and what's going to happen.
And also, Alice, just be nice to people because it's the right thing to do. Like, again, that's just good life advice.
Really
Not
nice.
even just career advice, but like, be nice to everybody. Even like, like turn the other cheek. Like, if someone's bad to you, like, we're all capable of evil.
The duality again. We're all capable of having both sides of us.
Yeah. I mean, don't let people take advantage of
Right.
it, but like, have a backbone, but still like,
Yeah, have some dignity.
when someone does something bad, I don't believe in bad people. I think, well, actually, maybe that's just naive of me, but
That's pretty
I
wholesome.
might be wrong about that. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I think, at least from how I see it, it's like when someone does something bad, it's either like out of desperation, like, or because like hurt people.
Absolutely.
Like
The
they did that
cycles.
because they come from a shitty situation and they literally don't know how to behave.
How to mend that.
They're like stunted as an adult or something. And it's like, it's like, if you understand that, it's hard just not to feel bad for.
Yeah.
You can almost treat like being a shitty person like it's a mental illness. Like they are not exactly in control of themselves, like the way like functioning adults like us are.
Well, I feel like sometimes like where you decide to draw the line on that with people is like your own. It's kind of your own deduction and your own reasoning. Like, because somebody that might be really good to Sid might fuck me, and somebody that might be great with me might fuck you, Alex. It might be a weird thing, and with case to case, person to person. But I think that goes back to inherently believing that not everybody's like really evil.
Yeah.
And it's like. And I get told this a lot because I'm somebody that rants a lot. You catch me on the wrong day on social media, dude. There's a paragraph and I'm bitching about something.
You're on the right
But
show.
I get on the jam with it. But there's other times where like I really feel the opposite end of the stick. Like the opposite end is like, man, I'm really lucky. Like slowly seeing people get to know him. That's been awesome, you know, over the
It's
couple
so cool
years.
seeing you come up.
It's cool.
It's
It
really
is.
cool.
It's getting to watch your friends like, and slowly I'll see somebody, some random person that I've been friends with for like 6 years. All of a sudden, friends with Sidney, and they're posting. They're like, "This dude's fucking ripping," and I'm like, "Yeah, dude, he straight does rip.
He's fucking
He rocks,
is.
dude."
Yeah.
And seeing shit like that's just like the full circle moment of seeing like, okay, this it isn't always bad. Some people, I get this. What I got reminded recently was everybody's their own main character. You
Yeah.
know, everybody's on their own story. They're doing their own. They're going for their own quest line. They're trying to level up their own XP. You know, we start talking in like, you know, I'm a DM too, so I can go down that rabbit hole. But
Oh, okay.
yeah, Sunday, dude,
Alright.
I have been running a Pokemon Dungeons and Dragons campaign since 2018. Every Sunday night.
Holy
Oh,
shit.
yeah, I remember you.
That's commitment.
From 5 in the afternoon till 9 at night every Sunday
Yeah,
night since 2018.
You are a busy dude. You're not lying.
Dude, I work 3 jobs. I'm in 2 bands. I run a music festival. I do a bunch of stuff.
Hey,
But that's how you stay. That's how you gotta grind, baby.
I know I said this earlier, but I really mean it. I appreciate you taking the time to come
Yeah,
and
dude,
do this.
That's why
this
scheduling
weird
was
thing.
just hard sometimes. I was
Oh,
like,
dude.
bro, I'm just a busy
Hey,
motherfucker.
I get it.
Yeah, yeah. I know
Especially,
you get it.
especially talking to you. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, that dude does a lot of shit.
I'm always trying to get, but that's how you make cool shit happen.
Yeah.
Too. And you're never. I've missed out on enough opportunities in this town by being a sad boy that won't get out of his bed. You know,
Yeah.
That's relatable.
that's real shit, bro. And the thing is, anybody that's really put in a lot of time in the city can tell you the same thing. Anybody.
Yeah.
I've talked to Freeze about it before, and he's been like, "Man, there's weeks that like
Is he an artist? What is Freeze? I don't think
Nordista.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Nordista.
Yeah,
He's an artist,
dude,
he does everything. He paints. He has a podcast. He does everything. Tours, plays.
I saw him at fucking Mouthhole.
Nice,
Really?
dude.
That
Yeah.
was insane.
That when was that? Probably like what, 4 years, 5
That
years?
was last year.
Oh, okay.
They throw a festival now called Fester,
And
and he closed it out second. He closed out the second night, and
Dude, nuts.
that was the first time I've even heard of Nordista Freeze.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh,
He's
shit.
crazy. Yeah, he's really good.
Because like I haven't really. I'm like, that doesn't exist in Nashville.
Right.
Like I know there's like a bigger like EDM scene in other places, but like you don't see stuff like that here.
We'll see. I think that's what Freeze's whole like that was his shtick, basically. He came in and was like, there's an air that Freeze has that I love about him because I used to make a joke, and I made this joke probably starting like 2015. I said Nashville's one of those cities where like half the musicians you meet look like they come out of 1972 and they act like it too.
Yep.
Like I fucked with Dusty forever. I was always like, yo, Dusty. I was like, I know you come out of 1972 and all your fucking friends were turquoise and shit, you know? But that was the other side of it where I seen Freeze because I was like, this kid, he's always just like really nice and genuine and happy. And then you get him on stage and he's kind of like otherworldly. He climbs shit. He climbed the stage at Bonnaroo. He climbs everything. He's like, he goes above and beyond.
Awesome.
And you don't see that because like half of this, pardon me for saying it, and I'll say it like, because I make jokes about it. Half of this city like smelling their own farts.
Oh, dude.
And like,
absolutely.
it gets, and I get it because it's entertainment. So like across the board, entertainment, who said it? Doesn't matter. Entertainment is the industry of attention.
And realistically, that's my bread and butter is because artists love to talk about themselves. So it's like, yes, please come on my show and
That's perfect.
talk about yourself.
Right. That's perfect.
Yeah. So like you're right though. It's very it's only a problem when
It goes to the clicks we talk about, the circles.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's
Are
only
you
a
one of
problem
us?
when you're like standoffish to other people because you're just not helping yourself. That is not a good career decision
right.
to fucking like
To be
a dick.
distant and
Yeah.
odd. I would
Like
not.
I'm a rock star. Like,
Yeah. I don't understand why anyone would approach anything that way.
It's like, no, you're not.
Especially like
you're not
if
Aerosmith.
the right person walks through the door with the right opportunity, watch how fast that fucking dude changes.
Yeah, and I think
You know?
I have a theory that like the most successful people are not like that. Like,
Right.
I'm sure there's exceptions, right?
Yeah.
Where they get really snobby, but like I think most people that get to like a level of like what most people would consider success is like those are probably like people who work their fucking ass
Pass
off.
off their whole lives for it too.
And
Or no, it's not.
we did not, step on other people like when they weren't at that level, like.
I've really wondered like the depth of the cutthroatness, like, 'cause there's rivalries in the industry. There's people that like both have very solid careers that fucking hate each other, and it's and
like Biggie and Tupac.
there you go.
There you go.
There's I feel like it's really present. There's another, I forget what the name of the podcast is. The guy, it's like 10 Years Town or something. I see it all the time on Insta.
I've heard of that one.
It's the dude. I've been following him for like a couple months now, but he had Keith Urban's bass player on. He had a couple different people on, and they're like industry cats. And he had a whole episode where he was talking about when it's high, it's high, and when you're low, and like the mental health gymnastics in this city with that. Because 6 months, one summer, you're like, I'm going at my buddy Joy, going back full circle to Daniel and stuff. When Noah and Nate both got pulled by Daniel to be in Cosmic Country, Grayson, who is the third member of their band that had been playing shows with me since like 2016, Down Boy, I was friends with all those dudes. Nate and Noah got pulled to go in Cosmic Country, and Grayson was like, he didn't get to go, but he got turned around and got pulled to play with Joy. And then the next thing I know, Nate and Noah are super hyped about playing, really good sold out club shows with Daniel, like 200 people shows. Grayson's on tour opening for My Morning Jacket at Red Rocks with Joy. And it's weird because like it was one of those moments where so many people that knew that band was like, bro, what about Gray? You guys have all worked your ass off together as a little unit for years to get somewhere in this industry. But Gray's not with you. But then turn around, what happens? Gray's like singing backup and all this stuff, and is still Joy's bass player. Like things find their way. Yeah. And it's interesting that they do, because in those instances and over the time that they kind of work themselves out, you find who your people are.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man, for sure, dude. Yes. And
that's really like you hit it.
Cheers.
That's it. Like you find who your people are.
Yeah. That's it, man.
Like with me and you, Sid, like you and I kind of 2 or 3 conversations in, I kind of realized with this dude, I was like, this dude's one of my people. Like this guy thinks like I think.
Dude, he's just one of those dudes. Like we've been best friends since like the first time we did a podcast. Like
it's like this is perfect. Yeah. Some people, like you said, some people are, Sid, as good as you fucking are, dude, I have never seen you come off arrogant to anybody, which is a huge fuck, because there's plenty of people who say I'm an arrogant prick all the time. But I mean, the shitty thing with that is I feel like you see people that are just so fucking good. Exhibit A. You see people that are really good, and then when you see the humility behind it, it's almost inspiring.
I have a lot to say about this.
It's the same kind of way I feel about Freeze. Like being able to fucking book a show with Ornise Freeze in 2016 and a house show. We're playing fucking Crossroads in Murfreesboro with hentai on the walls in the bathroom, and like there's 30 kids here, and we're all having a good time. And it's a house show. 6 years later, I'm fucking backstage at Bonnaroo watching Freeze play Bonnaroo, and I was like, full circle, baby, full circle. This dude fucking earned it. He's been cool the whole time. Tight.
Yeah.
Love it. Absolutely fucking love it. And you love seeing shit like that.
Yeah. What you were saying about like arrogance is like we're all very talented artists, and I think it's important to understand that. Like there's got to be a balance, where it's like Sid knows he's good.
Right. Exactly. Sid knows he's good.
I would hope so. I would hope Sid knows.
Exactly.
Because it's like you're saying, he's not like we were actually just talking about this the other day, where it's not like you get into a mode where it's not even you. Right. You're just riding it out. Like
it's just the natural form of who you've already been. I've had a very similar thought. Somebody that's a perfect example of this kind of thing too. Dustin. Me and Dusty laughed together because like Dusty's a big personality, and Dusty rubs people the wrong way, and like so do I. So he and I have always been like,
I love that.
Bro, we get it. We're just big personalities. It's fine. That's why me and Dusty love each other, because it's like, yo, bro, what's up? My people.
The dude from the review.
Yeah. And that's what when you get, especially like you're in year 2 now, right? You're rolling into you're at like almost 2.5 of being here.
Well,
right at 2.
Right at 2.
Right at 2. Okay, so and the longer you're here,
1. What am I saying?
I mean, just so yours is year one. You're coming up on the year anniversary of really being active here at Nashville.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah, dude, this is really crazy. You do good.
Thank you.
But look at it where you're gonna be at like 3 or 4.
Hmm.
And the thing is with that, how you carry yourself may not change at all, but your presence to other people that don't know you will change. And that's what watching somebody like Freeze is a perfect example. Watching somebody that was going from booking, his second Freeze Fest at fucking Fat Bites Deli that I played like 5 in the afternoon on a Saturday.
That's crazy.
To selling out Brooklyn Bowl for fucking Space Prom. Like, it's beautiful.
You love to see it.
Love to see it, dude. Love to see it with people that are like, that earn it.
Yeah.
Love to see it with people that are cool.
I deserve it.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
It is. It was such a cool full circle moment.
I didn't know that he like cut his teeth in Nashville because like I saw him at fucking Mouth Hole of all places and was like, whoa, this dude, I love what he's doing. Like it's just really cool music, but and he obviously enjoys it. Like he's into it. But that's awesome. I didn't know the history behind that.
Dude, that's my favorite thing about being around as long as I have now. I started playing shows in the city in 2009. I formed my first band right out of high school spring semester. So around this time in 2009.
I thought I seen some gray hairs over there.
Oh yeah, you know it, baby. You already know. You want to see my chest, baby? Exactly. That's where it all goes to. I played. This is back when the Muse was still around.
Yo,
We're talking like old metal shows, like years
Let me
ago.
cut in real quick. My producer ran sound at the Muse for 10 years.
Fucking beautiful.
He's not here at night, but the guy that edits all these episodes, he ran sound there for like 10 years.
Yep.
That was before my time.
Kung Fu Coffee up front, bro. I remember all that shit.
But
so
anyway,
I've been around for a while.
Yeah.
And seeing like full circle, dude. And I can't name like. There's a couple bands that are like bigger Nashville bands now that were kind of regular bands to me 10 years ago. I played Springwater with all them witches, bro.
Dude.
I used to get down with Ben and Parks all the time, dude.
What?
The first fucking time, it was 5 in the afternoon. Whiskey Angel was opening for them that night. We played with them like the summer. 2013. They got back. They went on tour with King Buffalo from New York. They came back, played Springwater for their fucking album release show. Dude, for Lightning at the Door. For Lightning at the Door. That's when I laugh with kids. They'll be like, wrong the witches. I'm like, bro, I was drinking with that band out back at fucking Springwater 10 years ago.
Don't recite
like,
the old magic.
Exactly.
I was there when it was written.
Exactly. That meme to a T. I remember when Parks had like a weird mental breakdown because I was friends with him. This is before he deleted all his socials and the band like exploded. Everybody was bitching at him because they got the record done. Fucking, it was great. Everybody loved it. It was Lightning at the Door. It's the record that made up the band they are. And it didn't have no lyrics in it. So people everywhere were like, yo, where are the lyrics? They're not on Bandcamp. We can't find them. They're not in the sleeve. Where's the lyrics? And he got on a tip one night. He was all drunk and posted all the lyrics for the entire record in one Facebook status as like a giant run-on sentence. I'll never forget it.
Oh my God.
And I was like, I liked it because and at that time, like I said, they were just normal dudes, man. They were normal guys playing in Nashville. Fucking Chris Aubrey used to tour manage for Thumb with a Sleeve, LG and them. Chris Aubrey was managing Springwater at the time of this. We came in, my stick in my first band, the real band that kind of, you talk about like Tears and fucking like Tame Impala and stuff. The first real big band for me that like pulled me in, like playing, Kings of Leon. And I mean old, like fuck you, nasty, loud, raw, back when they looked like they were on meth, Kings of Leon. Not like Pop Kings of Leon.
Not
still all the same.
Saturday Night Live.
But exactly.
Like OG.
Exactly. Yeah. We came out and I had my band, Whiskey Angel. We were just like nasty, raw, fuck you, loud, fuzz rock. That was our stick. And that's when Chris came up to me and he's like, bro, these are the bands you got to play with. Thelma, All Them Witches, and Sex. Sex with 2 X's. They do reunions every couple of years. You might see them, but they were a big Nashville band like 10 years ago. But I turned around and Chris was like, here's Parks' contact, the bass player for Witches. Here's Parks' contact. I hit Parks up and I was like, hey dude, I play this band, I play up here. I can give you guys gigs in my city too, yada yada. And he's like, we need another band on this opening slot on the Springwater show. So I was like, dude, fucking all day, tight. I like Springwater, cool. And that summer, like Whiskey Angel played with All the Witches. Like And there's two other bands, and it's wild looking back now because like even 2 years later, I'm fucking looking on. They're playing like Holland for like 20,000 people.
Dude, I've seen them at the Ryman just a couple months ago.
Yeah, that Halloween shows. Yeah,
yeah,
dude. Those are, and I told you it was wild to look back on and like I knew them personally. Like we had become friends with their little group pretty well. And that album release show, Ben was wearing like a fucking sweater, and my boy Spencer was in the crew too. Spencer was just trolling Ben the whole show, and just like, Ben, this is your album release show. You can wear a Walmart sweater. And Ben was like, hey, Spencer, how about fuck you? It was great, but like, that's just friends, picking on each other.
Yeah.
That's Springwater.
yeah.
And it just goes to show you never know, 10 years later, these are some of the biggest bands like from this city.
That's nice.
It's
Yeah.
wild. They're fucking opening for Primus and fucking Cody and Cambria this summer.
Oh shit.
Yeah, they're one of the opening acts on that
I
tour.
just saw that tour was announced. That's awesome.
All of which is one of the acts. I was like, that's sick as fuck.
Dude, that's fucking awesome.
So cool.
What a wild lineup that is.
Yeah, it is.
That's like a.
I love me some Les, man. I've seen him like 4 or 5 times.
He's
I've seen him with pretty much like every time I've seen him has been different acts. I've seen Primus twice, and then seen him with the Lennon Claypool Delirium thing, and then I've seen him with his frog band. Like I've seen him a bunch of times. Festival life, man. You see some random motherfucker show up.
I would love to see Primus. I've never seen them. I've seen Coheed twice.
Nice.
I've seen All the Witches like 3 or 4 times, but
That's probably be a good one. They're probably doing it at Ascend, I imagine. It makes sense.
that makes sense. Yeah.
Being Primus and Coheed. Be in the summertime, I'm sure it'll be Ascend.
That'd be dope.
Makes sense.
That'd be a dope show. That's what I love about Eileen's apartment now too. It's literally
Nice.
right there. It's like
Nice.
right there. I'm like, I can listen to whatever show I want to out the
Nice.
window.
I caught a show at the Sin years ago. I think it was Modest Mouse and
Brand new?
Brand New.
Yeah, dude.
I
I
saw
remember
that.
that tour.
I saw that on the. Don't do this, Alice. I saw that on the bridge. Like we.
Yeah, the
didn't-
pedestrian bridge.
Yeah, and
So-
eventually cops came by and
Oh,
they were
right.
like move along.
Clear.
But it was like,
Come on, man.
but that was awesome.
Right.
Yeah. But pay to see bands. Go if you're gonna go
Support the bands.
Do the right thing.
Yeah.
Unless you're working the show.
Don't,
Then just give them shit the whole
Yeah.
time about how you're working their show.
don't do things I've done, and if you're going to, don't say it was a good idea.
Right.
Yeah.
Throw tomatoes at them. No,
Yeah.
don't do that.
Oh Lord.
So what kind of music did your mom play when you were a kid? Like in the car, in the house?
A quick crash course. I mentioned earlier my dad overdosed and died when I was 21. Both of my parents have been hardcore drug addicts my whole life. I was raised by my grandma.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of goes back, and all my musicianship is really centered around a lot of that stuff too. And it's interesting because, like I said earlier about writing songs about my father kind of freed me from my like prison of feelings I had about my dad. And interestingly enough, in the past like year, I've really started to write a lot more songs about my mom.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the new singles from my stuff I cut this year is about my mom being a heroin addict.
When's that stuff dropping?
Well, the first single drops next Friday. Nice. And then
That'll be out by this
periodically 6 to 8 weeks.
So go check that out. That'll be out by now.
Yeah, it's
so-
called Sell It.
Okay.
Check it out. It's
Check-
called Sell It.
Can't wait to
I'll
hear it.
when I'm posting this, I'll ask you for a link and I'll put that.
For sure.
That's pretty cool.
But because of that, both my parents were very young when I was born. They were 17 and 18. So they were kids already in their own right, basically. And a couple of years in, the first few years, they kept it together pretty well. My dad got a regular job, kind of like a 9 to 5. He actually worked in a printing factory and printed like guitar magazines and shit for a long time. Old Wizards of the Coast magazines.
Whoa.
Yeah, back in the day. But in the midst of my childhood, my dad got really into chicken fighting, like underground, like blood sport chicken fighting. And
Holy shit.
there's a whole lot of dope involved in the chicken fighting world because there's a lot,
I believe
as you can
that.
imagine,
I
there's a
believe
lot of
that.
speed and crank and stuff. So my dad like kind of went down that rabbit hole and got really hooked on drugs, and it caused him, my mom, to kind of fizzle out and kind of implode. And my mom's answer to it was to also get on drugs.
Oh.
So I was really like, as a small child, the first like 10 years of my life, it was almost kind of kitschy and like Devil Went Down to Georgia, cheesy stuff that were like big songs the family would listen to, my grandma or whatever. But my real fundamental development as an artist and like with music came, my mom left me to my grandma when I was 9. And that's when I was like really going into prepubescency and like really hitting puberty. And like I was being raised by a woman that was much older than me and had been married 8 times. So she had her own mental health battles and was her own kind of crazy. So needless to say, me and my grandma weren't very like close, but I was like the kid by myself in the back room all the time. And I because of her age and like this is the pre-internet, this is before high-speed internet and stuff. We were just getting high-speed internet like at school and shit when I was like an early teenager. I was really, really conditioned by like classic rock, man, because like that's what was around. And like I bring it up a lot. I have songs about Tom Petty. Tom Petty is like the peak of my pyramid. There, in my opinion, there's never gonna that's the king. That's the king bee, baby. He's the so that greatest hits record, man. I found that when I was like 9 years old. One with Last Dance with Mary Jane on it, but it had all the singles from all the Heartbreaker stuff on it. So like 15 songs. So because of that, like that kind of sent me down the classic rock rabbit hole. Like I got super into Tom Petty. I fell in love with the Allman Brothers band. I had my Led Zeppelin phase, as we all do. Yeah. I had my Sabbath phase because the first 4 Sabbath records are some of the only things in the world you can trust. Classic rock was really like my go-to for everything. That's why I was like Bob Seger, CCR, Heartland rock, as it's called, from like, so I love Springsteen, prominent songwriting, anything that is about blue collar problems and like poor people that don't have no connections in life, because that's what I am. Like I came from nothing. I come from like really trashy drug addicted people that are all really poor, and like I come from a trailer, you know, like I made a joke forever to Sidney, like I've been trailer rock. I've always been like #trailer rock, because I'm like one of the dudes that came up from a single wide trailer and like raised by his grandma. So because of that, like fundamentally classic rock kind of just like shaped me. And then, you know, I was like 11 years old and was seeing School Rock like everybody else. And it was like, this is what we're all going to do. I make the argument that's one of the most important films in the past fucking 25 years. That movie is so important to an entire generation of musicians. Super important. Like, you can't even deny it. It's so good. But that's what tinged me, man, honestly. And my parents, for what it's worth, I was born in 91. So my dad was like a big Testament, like Metallica and Megadeth fan and shit. And then right when I was born, the kind of grunge movement happened. So he was really into Soundgarden and really into Alice in Chains. Yeah. So I was raised all around that kind of rock too. That was around, but mainly because of my grandma, a whole lot of classic rock. And because of that too, there was the other side. It's not just rock. John Prine. I was raised on John Prine my whole life. So when he finally got his fucking comeuppance in his due diligence like 10 years ago, I was like, I know all these songs already. I can sing every fucking song you're gonna play me by John Prine. Because I've been raised on those CDs, you know? And that was kind of Jim Croce, John Prine, a lot of songwriters from that era.
Something I've learned interviewing artists is if you ask them like what are your major inspirations, people will name things off, but they might not even know themselves. But if you ask them what they grew up with, it's like that
the ticket.
We get to the bottom of it.
That's the best. That's the best question for that, man.
Yeah. That's you. Like you've come a long way, man. It's I think that's really inspiring to anyone watching.
People that really know me and have known me my whole life. Like there's so many people, because I'm a loud personality and I do rub because I'm very direct, and Sid can attest to this. Like, dude, especially when it comes to certain things in this industry and like running shows certain ways, I'm gonna fucking shoot straight with you straight up. And I'm gonna be cutthroat about it because like I'm not trying to bullshit you. Yeah. And I'll tell you at the end of the night, I was like, no, dude, you've seen 9 people in this room. I got money for you because I'm not paying locals. You know, like there's certain ways I run shit, and it's just some people it rubs the wrong way, but some people it does, but it doesn't. But if people know what I come from, it like things line up better for them sometimes. Yeah, I could have went, and literally, I'm the only one in my family with a degree. I'm the only one in my family who isn't strung out on drugs. I'm the only one in the family who hasn't had kids. They've lost to the state. Like I come from pure. You get it. You come from like a very trashy place too. From not mean like that, Sim. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. There's plenty of trashy people down in Elvis. You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. Not like that. But like it's a different. it's a different thing. And I've noticed that's one of the first things I kind of start to pick apart from people's musicianship when I meet them. When I'm like, somebody's good, and I'm like, yo, you're making art that I really fuck with. And that's like, that's one of the hard things as a musician. When you meet some people and you're like, bro, these guys are assholes. And you listen to their music and it's like, God damn it. It's so good. Fuck.
I know people like that.
Bro, I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate it. There's definitely the other end where people are like, dicks, and their music sucks. I'm like, well, they suck anyway. But every once in a while, man, I'm like, God damn it, I wish I hadn't met that guy. Because I fucking love his songs. But God, he's just a drunk. I won't say no names, but there's a guy coming in a couple years ago to Nashville really hard when I came back out of COVID. Dude, him and his band moved here from the other side of the country. And this band blew my fucking mind. They came, it might have been a show, you might have been Alex. Mike, there's another Mike coming in, Sky Daddy Mike coming in full moment. Mike played Possum Stock 10 years ago. He played Possum Stock in 2014. Now, me and Mike have known each other since he was in Caligula out of Murfreesboro.
I remember Caligula.
And
yeah,
Mike,
I've known
Mike for forever, yeah,
really long time, man. No one's done more for me.
The man, dude.
In Nashville.
That's why he and I started connecting hard.
The intro song that plays before every episode, that's Michael.
Is Mike, right?
Yeah. He was the first guest ever came on the show.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect.
And even before I started, he was like, "Yeah, dude, do it."
Right. Exactly.
And I'm like, Michael says I should do it. I'm gonna do it.
He's one of those people that I think is like a perfect example of somebody that's trying to do as much as he can for as many people as he can.
Yeah.
And like, I fucking love Young Robot's music, dude. I fucking love Young Robot. Like, Sunshine was our official, dude. That was our fucking theme song for Possum last year. Cause that's how I told him. I was like, yo, this needs to be the song of this year. So I was like, yeah, dude, this song fucking rips.
I can really see you're trying to do that for artists too.
It's that's the thing when he and I, like, we played a house show. This is crazy, y'all. This was COVID year. This is 2020. And this was it was a year, it was a year difference. That's where I got confused. 2019, New Year's 2019, Michael was playing in the Blam Blams.
Yeah.
And the Blam Blams played with me on New Year's.
I might have been there.
We did a big New Year's party, and then Mike was like, man, I'm trying to start, like, he kind of gave me the precursor idea to Sky Daddy. And he and I had already been involved down here for years, and we knew about Cold Lunch and Gary and Carolyn and like some other promotional companies and teams that had done stuff like in the scene. And he told me about it, and I was like, bro, that sounds like some shit I'm about. Like, if you start getting something rolling, let me know. COVID happens 2 months later. World pandemic happens. Nothing happens for like X amount of time.
Yeah.
The next time me and Mike see each other is like 2 years later at the next fucking New Year's show we're playing. But it's after COVID, the industry's just starting to come back. And we're both toasted as shit. We're both having a good time. We both played already. We're having a good New Year's. And he comes up to me and he kind of like, he says something. He's like, well, you know, I got Sky Daddy rolling now. And I turned to him and I was like, and you're going to do Possum with me, right? And he like looks at me and he was like, I was praying to God, you'd say that. And I was like, you know it. Let's do it, baby. More the merrier. Finding the right people that are trying to make the good shit happen.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I've had to like, and me and Mike remind each other of this a lot. We're support systems for each other as friends because we both know we have a fuck ton going on. Like we have a bunch of people that depend on us and we're both doing a lot of things all the time. So we're kind of there oftentimes for each other to be like, yo, I know you may need somebody to talk to right now. Holler at me. And we talk to each other a lot on that. And Mike was one of the first people that like kind of reiterated to me and really like instilled in me like somebody's always going to talk shit. And it's real. Like, because if you're the dudes making stuff happen, someone will always. Because somebody feels
posted something about this.
I did.
And I very much relate to that. That's like, yeah.
It's
anyway,
100%. But no, it's same thing. Anytime you take the initiative or the gumption to do something, to get up from fucking small town and come to Nashville, fucking to go live on fucking TikTok every night and curate an entire community around you. Yeah. This is all fundamental, baby.
Yeah.
And like that, if you're one of the people that's willing to get up out of the bed and go do stuff, the people that are fucking stuck in the bed are gonna have a problem.
And this comes back to what we were talking about earlier, where it's like, if you want to be successful, focus on yourself. Don't focus on what someone else is doing.
Be the best you can be,
Yeah.
and that's the best way to contribute to your
That's healthy. That's healthy, because if really, like, your past self is the only thing that's fair to compare yourself to.
Amen. As long as you're doing better than old you, you're winning.
Yeah.
You know,
because everyone comes from like a different background, and like is coming from like a different angle on it. So it's not really fair in a good way or a bad way to compare yourself to anyone else. You know?
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the trap of it, because the moment you really start doing that, you stop appreciating what makes you you.
Yeah.
That is very relatable, because there around, I guess, 2019, I started to get super into 21 Pilots.
Yeah.
I know I harp on that band a lot, but
I'm broke.
love them.
Props to you, bro. If you love somebody, fuck yeah. If you can hear it, baby, go for it.
Absolutely. But I started to like do where you start the compare game, and like, where's my Josh? You know, I want to find somebody that I
Right.
click
Where's
with
your
somewhere.
other dude?
Yeah,
Where's my Hall and Oates?
but if, for real,
Maze and whatever.
Tears for Fears.
That's
hello?
it, baby. I was like,
Come on.
the duos, baby.
But I eventually realized, like, I'm not Tyler, I'm Sid. And I've got my own
Exactly. You
path
have
to
your
go down.
own story. Amen.
Everybody does.
Amen.
Yeah.
So I
And
don't play that game anymore.
That's wise.
and this city is, despite being like the smallest big city in America, arguably, like, or the biggest
Yeah.
small city in
I know,
America has
I
a
know
better way of putting it.
exactly what you mean.
That's a better way
I know
of putting it.
exactly what you mean. If you come from like Lincoln County, like I did, or Perry County, like you did, Nashville seems like a big place,
Right.
but it's not.
Not
It's
at
a
all.
small pond.
It really is.
It's
so wild.
small.
Everybody,
It's so backwards.
and dude, the
Yeah.
longer you're here, like a year, like we just talked about, I'm talking to you guys about fucking playing shows with all them witches at
That-
Springwater.
It's fucking
It's
insane.
real as fuck, dude. You can go find this shit on socials, like the old posters from 10 years ago, because it happened. And like, I walk in, I'm like, Parks, where's Ben? Oh, he's not gonna be here yet. And then Robbie is in the corner. The drummer is literally with his arborist textbook. He looks over. He's like, "What's up, Cody?" I was like, "What's up, Robbie?" He's just over here with this big tree textbook.
Oh my
He's got a
God.
he's an arborist, dude. That's his like. I'm sure he doesn't do it now because they're fucking rock stars now. But back in the day, dude, even when that band was just starting and they were getting half of Robbie's shit was like him up in a tree in the woods somewhere. I was like, "What are you doing?" It's like, "I'm cutting up trees. I'm learning about tight, dude."
That's
Awesome.
hilarious.
And then the small town, before you know it, you're around for a year, 5 years, 6 years. Oh shit, dude, everybody knows him. Yeah, we've seen him. That's the only reason people know me, man, is not so much that like I do a lot of stuff presence wise, but I've been around for 13 fucking years, 14 years, like going to shows in this town, meeting people
in the trenches.
You meet people in the business, dude. You just, you know, we talked about Cody earlier, Eastrom, fucking Foo Bar, 5 Spot. Now he's at Cannery. How long before Cody's running, you know, something fucking even bigger? Before he's the main sound guy to Sim or something. Granted, you play a Sim, you never run sound guy. But anyway, it's crazy to see people go from the small Cobra Foo Bar room, 5 Spot's a little bigger, and now he's literally running sound at Cannery. So it's like,
Who's this again?
Cody Eastrom, killer cool dude, one of the most dependable sound guys in this city. I love Cody. I love any room he has ever ran sound for me in, he's made it great. He's one of the few people that I can honestly say that, like, if I know he's behind the board, I don't worry about it. I've never had to worry about it. I'm like, he knows he's ran shows for me enough to know, like, bop.
Did he
It just
run,
works.
Did he run sound that night at the Underdog? Or was that somebody else?
That was a different Cody. That was a different Cody.
Okay, thought
I
it was-
just met him. I met that guy at that show,
'cause
and he's been cool as shit. His name's Cody.
it sounded
He's the
dope
underdog
also.
sound guy, and he's awesome. He's so nice.
Yeah.
Really liked him. We've talked a whole lot. We're friends on Insta,
Cool.
and he'll be posting. I get the sound guy life, man. I'm a dude. If I'm running a show or if I'm hosting something, I'm open mic. All of my social stories are tagging artists. That's all I do. And that there's tons of musicians that love like me as a sound guy for that reason alone. Because they're after the show, they're gonna have 6 or 7 stories that they can pop in. And it's like little effort. You don't have to fucking do anything as a sound guy. Oh, find this band on Instagram while you're watching them play. Like, whatever, dude. You know how far that goes for people?
Yeah.
And people say it, they're like, "Dude, thank you so much about it." I said, that's second nature, man. I kind of feel like that's part of the game. That's why me and Cody from Underdog hit it off out the rip. Because I was like, man, this guy is sharing every band he's running sound for. He's doing the shit the same way I did. And then he'd seen my amp that night, and he's like, I fucking love this amp. I was like, I like you. We got the same name. We got the same taste
And
in
it's
our
just super
things.
cool, you know?
He's just good people.
Yeah.
That's all it's about.
I remember
Finding the good people.
whenever I see videos from that show, I'm like, sounds awesome. You know? So anyway,
That was our last show together, wasn't it, Sid? Yep, the Underdog Show. See, Sydney's like one of my go-tos for like support all the time. But if somebody's coming through regionally, one of the first fucking people I tell them, I'm like, hit up Sidney.
I mean,
It
makes sense.
because he's still cutting teeth and getting his name out there to everybody, you know, and it's good.
Yeah, and he's a badass.
And he's a badass.
aw, thank you.
You don't mind? I want to get personal.
I've probably been stream of consciousness and
No,
talked about
no.
all kinds of random
That's
shit, so.
How personal we
That's
talking?
just how this
Mm.
show goes. Have you ever been betrayed?
Musically, or are we talking about just like in general?
So there's different kinds of betrayal. There's romantic, there's friendship, there's business.
yeah.
All of the above.
I'll stray away from the personal, from the romantic side of things, because like I'm not super out here bitch about exes or whatever. But let's talk about industry wise, because like I feel like this is the relevant like, and I carry a lot of infamy in this town for I am not afraid of controversy, and I am not afraid to argue with someone. Confrontation does not scare me. And there's some people that run the wrong way. I'm an Aquarius male. I am
happy
literally
birthday.
a true blue. When you read the stupid stuff about Aquarius men, that's all me. Like to a T. It's really dumb. I'm very ethereal. I don't care. And half the time I'm kind of like, ooh, I'm on my own tip. I'm just kind of stuck in my head. Whatever. But the other side, like, my rising is Aries. So like, fuck you. I don't have a problem
with
being
Aries sun. Yeah.
perfect. Like it's wild. Or
I also don't shy away from confrontation. That's been a thing for me in like relationships and just pretty much anything is like I can tell there's tension between us. Let's talk about it.
amen.
And it's like
Some people can't handle that.
no.
The moment you even say let's talk about it, that's like an aggro move to them. They're like, why are we even recognizing this?
I heard something that really resonated with me. That's like it's like how are you so confrontational and like direct about things? And it's like because it's scarier not to.
Right.
And for some people, it's scarier to do
To
it.
do it.
For me, it's scarier because I'm gonna be thinking about it.
Right, and the fucking awkwardness is gonna
Yeah.
like dissipate.
I'd rather just get shit over with.
Exactly. Let's talk about what we need to talk about. Let's address the elephant in the room.
Yeah. So anyway,
But let's pertain this to music and like the industry side of things. We all know that like this town and getting anywhere, opportunities are a dime a dozen, but in the industry of entertainment, we are in the business of attention. That's why people have been able to get paid with attention in this industry, like a lot.
Exposure dollars.
Yeah, like, hey Usher, here's your $600 check for your fucking 68 million viewed fucking performance. Like little things, you know. So I understand people have to make sacrifices. It's a very cutthroat. Like Hunter S. Thompson talks about how cutthroat it is. Like this industry is known as being like a shit show. However, just like we've discussed tonight, I think half of navigating it is finding the people you know that aren't going to betray you, and finding the people that there are a sense of like, yeah, I'm watching out for myself, but I'm also not trying to fuck anybody.
Yeah.
And there's levels to that, because there's, like I said, again, I've been in long enough to name plenty of names, but I won't for the sake of peace and stuff.
I think that's great because like you very easily could have, and you're choosing not to.
Right. Well, it's a
And I think
professionalism
that's-
thing
yeah.
too. It's the same air. I don't want, because you can have bad experiences with incredibly established big acts, and I've had a time or two where I've ran into things I've had to fix, whatever, etc. But ultimately, if you still maintain an air of professionalism and try to carry it and really, really display, basically, I don't want to say put up a front because it's the last thing I'm trying to say, but if you're on
It's
your
opposite
shit
of
public,
that.
exactly. That's the best way to put it out. I don't know what word I would use, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
If you can be genuine, if you can be genuine with people, even if it's like, I've told the touring band that needed a $500 guarantee, we got fucked, nobody else is getting paid tonight, and I don't have your $500, I got $300 for you. But if you're shoot straight with people, out the gate, and like I'll, as a promoter too, this is a big thing. As a promoter, I will tell agents and stuff and be like, bro, I'm not giving you this guarantee because I can't.
Right.
I am unable to. I'm not gonna lie to you and tell you I can.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I can do. And I think that really goes like that. It's better to be upfront about fucking up than it is to lie about it
Yes,
and
sure.
put the it's fucking Sidney. The whole thing. There was some miscommunications with me and him on that show we were talking about earlier when he played with those touring bands and shit like that. Little things like that. Sid knew he was making connections. He was networking. He fucking pulled his weight, and I was like, man, I'm hoping these other bands can pull their weight with you. You know, trying to pull it. And sometimes things don't shake out the way they meant to.
Yeah.
And Sid was one of the first people that like this past couple of years, I worked with Sidney. Someone I was like, hey man, sometimes in this, I know you're in long enough now to get it. Sometimes none of this shit shakes out the way you think it's going to.
Preach.
Yeah, often.
Yeah.
And I think more or less it's just navigating that. And like I won't go as far as to say certain people that are kind of shitheads in our scene or anything, but they don't taint it for me. Let me put it that way.
They don't
Taint it for me.
taint. Okay.
Like my nights where I still have nights that people don't think are going to be that great, but I still turn around in my own scene and I'm like, oh shit, I got 60 people in this motherfucker tonight. I made $700 here tonight. There's 3 bands. Everybody's going to make a little bit of money. Everybody wins. Nobody played to nobody. We're winning all the way around.
So kind of the short of the long, like the kind of the short answer would be like, yes, you have been betrayed, but it's not slowed you down. It's not holding you back.
Amen.
Yeah.
It happens.
I think
it happens too often to dwell on. And it's not even they're trying to fuck you, because people fuck you in this game without meaning to all the time. All the time.
I want to have that resilience because I've been betrayed romantically, friendships, business, like all of the above. And it's like it can make it hard to trust people.
Absolutely.
And I mean, I think I'm getting better at this as I get older, but it's like I don't know, that's hard. That's a hard thing it makes you not trust anybody. It makes you second guess trusting anyone ever again. And it's I don't know, do you have advice for how to
I was actually thinking about this very thing today too, because there's a confidence we have in youth. Like when you're new to this, when you've not been in for years and years and gotten fucked by like 20 different people, there is a brat, and I don't want to, I say a confidence because that's the correct word for it. It's not abrasiveness. It's not like foolhardiness. You can argue that, but it comes with age. There's a sensor we all naturally start to develop as we get older and we get betrayed more. And I feel like when you're young in a certain aspect, when you're eager and you're new, that shit doesn't hurt as bad. Because it's like, I barely know these people anyway. I'm new to stuff, whatever. I don't know you from Adam. I'm not going to dwell on it. But when it's somebody that you've been fucking dependent on to be there for 3x years, whatever, whatever amount it is, that hurts differently. And I think as we all get older, we start to treat like, if you're smart, you almost like start to guard certain parts of yourself more. You become smarter about the way you socially interact with people. You don't put as much of yourself on the line out there. But by the duality of it again, in this industry, like if somebody's fucking taunting your dreams in front of you, if somebody's like, yo, what have you been fucking working for since you were old enough to fucking drive? Right here on the street. I can give it to you. But dude, those kind of dynamics happen all the time.
Yeah.
And it's weird because I can't tell you how many times that like I can tell when somebody comes. Possum isn't huge, it's not a fucking I don't have Bonnaroo or anything. But that's amen. That's the way I like it. But
I can tell Possum stock before I met you. Like Possum stock is a thing.
It's definitely in Nashville. It's like that's my bargaining chip. That's the reason me and Dusty had a whole conversation about it. I didn't used to think I could go somewhere like Exit In and be like, hey, I run this regional festival that's been around for fucking 10 years. Let me talk to whoever's on the books because I can bring people in here.
Yeah.
And dude, Dusty is the one that convinced me to go try that. And it fucking worked.
Nice.
And it's straight. They were just like, oh, you're the Possum stock dude. And I was like, I am. Who do I talk to about the books? And they're like, hold on. I'm like, all right then. Yeah. Direct line in. And it getting to that point, like it took fucking 10 years of it, obviously, but we got here.
Yeah.
And that just goes to show that like every little bit of building can work towards something like that.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of interesting when because I've met people that are, I can tell when somebody's kissing my ass, man. You know, I can tell when somebody's kissing my ass. And the certain questions certain people ask, the genuineness that's another reason I fucked with this dude since I met him. I was like, yo, no, dude, you're real. I was like, you're not bullshitting me. You care about rock and roll. You care about fucking playing the shit out of guitar. Hell yeah. You're not here trying to bullshit me about this, thinking you're too cool for this. You're just fucking real.
Yeah.
And that's me and Mike, dude. It's another reason me and Mike, like, very different types of dudes, but we were always just really upfront with each other. I was like, bro, I fuck with you, Mike.
Yeah,
He was like, I fuck with you, dude. And there's so many people, because in our industry, half of it is faking it till you make it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of artists get caught up in like the act.
For sure. I don't know. There's no way to say this that's not going to sound like a brag, but like there's a lot of music podcasts in Nashville. And I think all the artists I've had on just really appreciate like just having a conversation and like talking about things that are not like marketing stuff. Like, or like who's your biggest inspiration? Like I did ask you like what happened in the house growing up.
With you though, I feel like that's kind of the inspiration question is almost fundamental to understanding someone as an artist.
Yeah.
I feel like it's really like Sid. From the moment I met Sid, I knew he fucking reiterated to me like I fuck with Tears for Fears, Tame Impala. Like I knew what he was into. I knew what I was getting into out the gate. But how many young artists had I met that couldn't look me in the eye and tell me like, no, this is who I fuck with. This is who made me who I am.
Yeah.
Having that in your head, dude. Eric Johnson wrote in 2007 in Guitar Player magazine. He proposed this kind of idea of musicianship, and this goes past musicianship. This goes into any field. Like for you as a podcast host, this could go into any field that you kind of like choose on. If you look at a stool cannot stand up, or a chair with two legs. However, a stool can stand up, a table with three legs. All it takes to hold anything up in this world is three legs. Eric Johnson, because it was a whole Eric Johnson article, and he explains, guitar. I know you know who Eric Johnson is, fucking guitar slinger. His whole argument was, as a musician, as an artist, if you truly dive into three artists and explore them with your totality, I have fucking, Tears for Fears from top to bottom, all the fucking Tame Impala records top to bottom.
Absolutely.
Like they become songs of like, these songs are my people.
Yep.
When you have that, you have all the basis you need to form your own identity as an artist or in something. If you have, and it's funny because when he came up and told me like, I fuck with these three acts, I was like, I bet this dude doesn't even know about the three thing, but he's got his three right here. I can't tell you how many kids I meet that are new, that are like, every band, no one really knows. They're all playing music, and that's part of growing up and being a part of it. But like, not many people come and knowing exactly what the fuck they want.
I didn't realize that was such a thing.
It's naturally that's how it happened for me too. Because my first real deep dive past classic rock was I got fucking obsessed with Jack White. Like 2005 to about 2009. That was because, dude, the first two Rack and Church records are fucking incredible. They're some of the best music ever made, and I was sold on it. I was like, fuck everybody, this is it. 15, I turn around, I get from fucking whatever it was early days of Spotify, whatever it was like right in the beginning. Somebody's like, dude, you like Jack White? You need to check out the Black Keys. And then I go to the Ryman as a teenager and see them, and I was like,
what the fuck?
I'm melting onto the ground.
Yeah.
And then straight out of college, straight to being like starting my first band. My first band was a two-piece, of course. Of course, it's just being a drummer, and I drive everywhere like White Stripes, Black Keys. But then I fell down the Kings of Leon rabbit hole. And what that was, these are all three different bands, but really at the core of them, drummers and like these singers that are kind of like weird songwriter guys. Before I knew it, I had my three dudes that I was building everything off of.
There you go.
And I turned around and I was like, bro, I'm already rolling. It's developed. Like, we know what we're shooting for.
You know who you are.
Exactly.
He knows who he is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a level to it.
Yeah.
And there's so many people, I think, even in this city, that are still trying to figure out.
I think that's like, yeah, like we haven't known each other long, but I feel like 10 years from now, like I'll know you a little bit better,
right?
But about just as good as
and
I
I'll be
know
like,
you right now.
Yeah, it's part of like just
because we're both very like hard on our sleeve kind of people.
Yes,
you're like that too, where it's like we all have like a long road ahead of us, but like as soon as I met you, I knew exactly who the fuck you are.
Exactly, love it. Those are my kind of people, man.
Yeah.
If I don't feel like, if you're not shady, if I can't like pick up on you, like,
yeah, like what's this guy's
exactly? I'm like, bro, I don't know about this dude yet.
Dusty's another one where it's like as soon as I haven't even
out the rip,
I haven't known Dusty very long, but like immediately I'm like, yeah, I know who this motherfucker is.
That's why out the gate he and I got along well, because it was just like, bro, we are exactly who the fuck we are being right now to each other. Like, this isn't bullshitted. And that's you talking about betrayal, man. That's the hardest part. That's the sad part of the betrayal part, because you can have an entirely different idea of who someone is, like as an artist and as a friend, and then when push comes to shove, you're like, yo, you are not at all the person I thought you know.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, that's part of adulthood in general, but it's a different.
And then like people change sometimes too.
Exactly. You have to attest to
one of the hardest
you can't dismiss
breakups I ever went through was like, it would have been easier if one of us was at fault. Like if one of us fucked up,
something could be blamed.
If something could be blamed, but the reality is like we just became different people and we grew apart.
That's it.
And that's like so much harder than.
It's a hard thing to face than it just.
Because it's like I wish I was betrayed.
Exactly, because then it'll be like all this would make sense.
Yes. And that that really sucks when that happens. But yeah. Okay, so hard segue. Something I ask everybody, and I used to just ask people if they have any ghost stories, but that's not really fine-tuned enough. What I really mean to say, have you ever experienced something that you can't rationalize, like logically?
Man, it's really funny that you bring this subject up too.
I can still hear you. I'm gonna use the bathroom, but I'm gonna be able to hear you.
This is entirely a subject that like I have music, you know, I'm like, and I expressed earlier, I'm fucking like a DM and Pokemon roleplay. Like, there's a lot of depth to some of the shit I'm into. Mm-hmm. Well, one of the big things in life that I am very much into is the unexplainable and the paranormal.
Really?
Dude, I fucking adore it, baby. I have I guess I'll come in with this story because I gotta have like unexplained so much. Throughout my life, I've always I've had a lot of weird connections with things. My grandpa, I'm eighth Creek Indian. My grandpa was a medicine man in the Cherokee Nation. His parents were both two separate Indians from two separate. His dad was Irish and Cherokee, and his mom was a Creek Indian. And so I've always kind of had this weird, like, spiritual, supernatural, like, nature kind of aspect to our family. My grandpa, like, war danced and everything. We have, like, fucking bonnets at our house and all this shit. My grandma's house. But super in depth with, like, Native American culture and, like, modern powwows and shit. So it was kind of, like, always kind of taunted that shit was always ever present, you know, in our lives. And, man, my aunt, she read tarot cards my whole life until I was 12. And then she got into Kabbalah, Jewish mysticism, and she went blind. Went full blind.
Wait, holy shit.
Yeah, dude, like full blind. She was basically a medium my whole life. She ran a new age shop.
I'm so glad I asked you this.
Yeah, dude, that's when you brought this up, bro. I was like, this is one of my other subjects I adore, bro. So I was around kind of a counterculture on that side because she ran a new age store. We went to powwows growing up. Like I was around, she was reading tarot cards. Then randomly, right when I was a teenager, like 12 years old, I was in middle school. She just woke up and she started studying like Kabbalah and got into Jewish mysticism. And dude, fucking, she had a stroke at our house. And like it was a big deal, and she went blind, like completely blind. Like
Holy shit.
fucking can't see nothing. You get in front of her, like my Aunt Sheila, and she was at this time, she was like 34 years old or something. She was young as fuck. Like, holy shit, this shouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? So, after that happened, she literally, like, everything about her life, she changed. My grandma's taken care of her since. She stayed with her mom, my fucking 84-year-old grandma. But they became extremist Christian. Like my grandma's always kind of been Pentecostal and been about dancing with snakes and shit anyway. But when Aunt Sheila went blind, messing with Kabbalah and like all that, dude, my dad's family, it was like my grandma that my aunt went complete opposite. Like the next thing I know, she's yelling Bible verses to me like all the time about everything. I'm just like, okay, that's where we are in life now. We went full fucking fledged jump on.
See you too, Sheila.
Literally, dude. And it's funny because people that know her and know my Aunt Sheila, they can attest to this. And if she was like one of the most. She had a business. She had a new age shop. She was one of the most popular psychics in Clarksville. Like she was literally 4 or 5 people a day, all the time. Everybody knew Miss Sheila, yada yada. And then the bitch went blind. Like, and she tells me to this day, like 20 years later now, she tells me, she's like, it's because I started messing with that shit. I started messing with Kabbalah and like Jewish mysticism. And she's like, and it took my sight away.
Holy shit.
Yeah, dude. So I come from, on my dad's side, that's my dad's sister. When my dad fucking overdosed and died too, 4 years later, my uncle died in a very similar way. He hit a dump truck head on. But he was on like what they would call anybody, if you've been around dope heads in your life, you know, people get on benders. And he was on a bender. He'd been running for like 3 days. My uncle was a fucking nutcase, guys. Big fat guy. He was always like, ah! Anyway, he'd been on a bender for like 3 days. And he called my fucking grandma and my aunt. And he's like, the same shit that was chasing you is chasing me. So he told my aunt. And that afternoon, he hit a fucking truck head on, a dump truck head on. And it wasn't like the dump truck hit him. He hit the dump truck head on. And it's like, if that was super connected somewhere, I don't know. But as far as mediums, the other side, spirits, anything in the realm of paranoia, aliens, bro, I can talk with you fucking about aliens all day. It's my shit, bro. Wi-Fi. There's a fucking YouTube channel called Wi-Files that has the fucking fish, bro. Yeah, dude.
Oh, I know.
Every week, dude. AJ on Thursdays, baby. I am here for it.
I know Wi-Fi as well.
I do love rock and roll, and my life's dedicated to it. But if you get me on a tip, dude, I will start bitching about like the Babylonian fucking cults that run the planet and a bunch of wild shit. I will go down this rabbit hole.
I told you I have a strong sense of justice, and I like to fight. I like confrontation. I like it, and I've learned to hone it in a way that is beneficial. And I think hate is a strong word. But I fucking hate the government. That's my only strong political opinion.
That's the best one too. That's everything. The best one to have.
The government is the enemy. The government is literally or figuratively, depending on how you look at it, the fucking devil. It is evil. It is evil
entirely.
And I around this time last year. I'm a very radical person in my views of how we should deal with things. But this time last year, I was even more radical and taking steps, not just thinking about it, but like taking steps to do something that would have like either gotten me killed or locked up forever.
Right. So we got you fucking erased, basically. Yeah.
And it took people close to me
being like, bro, you got to calm down.
Being like, you need to calm down because you're not going to be able. What you want to do, not going to happen.
You can't do it,
first of all.
Right.
And even if it does, it's not going to change anything. So I'm doing this because realistically, this is all I can do. And it's not.
It takes a lot to admit that.
It's not. Yeah, it's not enough for me. I'll never be content. But we're at war.
Always. I completely believe that. I believe we're in a spiritual war all the time.
And it goes like. Man,
we're more in tune than I thought we was, dude.
That's bro. You want to talk about Jesus? I can quote verses and stuff too, man. I was raised super Christian.
So me too. I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness.
Oh, dude, yeah, you were on a different level.
I grew up in it, deep in it. And here's something I learned. You guys know the story of Tower of Babel?
Yeah.
Like Nimrod.
Yep.
And they're building a tower. I'll just briefly go over it for Alice, but like there's this tower that Nimrod is creating, and they're trying to get into heaven. They're trying to reach God.
Ascend.
And God in what is this? Genesis, Leviticus, something like that.
Early.
It's early on, and it's Torah for sure. Talking about God says if man was left to his own devices, he would be capable of anything. And then
what a quote.
Yeah. So like in this story, God is afraid of what man can do. Like that's scripture. And he's like, okay, so I'm going to divide language. We all speak English, but we sometimes in our culture speak different languages in English.
Exactly.
Like
to say there's certain phrases that didn't get an English phrasing, so we just adopted it.
And like this is not an issue I want to harp on too much, but just as like an example, like we can't agree about what gender means. Which like I have gender dysphoria. Like I present as male and female sometimes. But like people can't agree about what a woman is. So it's like we are literally speaking different languages. Even in English, we're speaking completely different languages.
That's a good way.
So we're living out this. It's prophetic.
Right,
we're living this out. And so what I'm trying to get at is I'm a big believer. I was very much like when I turned 18, I was like obnoxiously atheist because of what I grew up in.
You denounced it. You denounced everything.
Yeah.
Naturally. There's a lot of people that gravitate towards, especially coming from like a background like you did.
Yeah. But at this point in my life, I actually have a really healthy respect for scripture.
Right.
But what I've learned is that atheists, Buddhists, Muslims, Christians, Judaism are all saying the same thing.
Right.
It's the same message spun a different way. And it's like we all intuitively know what's going on, but we're convinced that we have different ideas about things when we really don't.
Right. Amen.
We all every religion in the world is saying the same shit, including atheism. Like they're all saying the same thing. And that's where I was going with that. Is Tower of Babel. We're living it. It's divided language, but it's different languages, but everyone's saying the same
stuff.
Yeah,
absolutely. I think it's interesting to look at, like, it's interesting you bring up being Jehovah's Witness and like that extreme opposite coming into adulthood. That's another layer to it.
I was super sheltered,
dude. It's a wild thing when I meet a lot of people that are homeschooled, like in the mix sometimes. I meet industry people, and I'm like, yo, I see the social ticks you missed out on in life because of that. I can tell, like, you've not been in certain situations and stuff. But I wouldn't have guessed that on you at all.
I think all of us are well adjusted.
Right.
Considering well things we've been through.
Right, exactly. True.
But if you met me when I was 18, I probably not. Wouldn't have
probably been a little wild. Right.
Yeah. But we're running out of time here. But I just want to say, not every artist is aware of this. So whether you're aware of it or not, I want you to know what you do saves lives. Live music saved my life.
Man,
I literally knew nobody outside of my church until I was 18 when I moved out. I knew fucking nobody. I went to Easter, man.
Changes
and
everything.
I wouldn't be here without live music. So cheers to that.
Absolutely, dude.
Same to you, man. What you do is extremely important. So I just want you guys to know that.
Same to you.
Yeah, man.
Oh, thank you.
Giving people a platform and having discussions like this and still being linked to the industry in this city and the stuff we do needs to happen more.
Yeah.
Like it definitely, because I think too many people treat being a public figure with like a face value kind of thing. And this kind of ties right back into what you were saying, where we all kind of speak the same language, but differently. The golden rule is the golden rule all over the earth. You know, like that kind of fundamental principle of like morality and trying to be a good person is it doesn't matter what fucking culture you come from. It doesn't matter what your fucking origin story is. It doesn't matter what you believe spiritually. Like at the core of it, being a good human being and trying to contribute to those around you and help them is like that's what life is being fulfilled by. And it's funny, this goes another full circle moment. My first Nashville show I ever played in my life was in 2007, and it was at something called Folk the World. It was a folk punk meeting. It was like a little meetup, and there was like 10 bands on it. There was a duo called Ben and Christian. They played some songs that are kind of about exactly what we're talking about, and they like moved the shit out of me. Now, Ben is named Benjamin Todd, and he's the frontman of Lost Dog Street Band, which is one of the biggest folk bands in the fucking world. And I just shared this a couple days ago. Ben made a big post online that was like, hey, I fundamentally believe that like if you are a public figure and like you like have been blessed at this part in life, you need to do what you can to contribute back to society in a good way. You do. You have a response, almost like the Cat Williams quote with this crazy shit, bro. The
new interview,
yes,
bro.
The winners are not allowed to let losers rewrite history.
Fuck yeah.
Like, absolutely.
You have an obligation.
Exactly. You have an obligation to try to make things better.
Yeah.
If you have the power to do it, you need to try to be a better person. You need to contribute good things.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Yes, Uncle Ben. Yes, all day.
Yeah. Cody, thank you so much for being
here.
Dude,
absolutely, man. I had a great time.
We're gonna have to do this again soon.
Definitely.
Because
let me know when.
Because what we need to talk about aliens and the government more.
My little snippet. That's what I got. Little snippet. My brother went into college. He was raised by his grandpa, kind of. Anyway, he's raised by a first sergeant in the military. So all through college or all through high school, dude, clean cut, fucking like JROTC. My little brother, we were like, he's gonna work on cars or go in the military. That's what he's gonna do because he was in the street cars and he was in JROTC. That's all he cared about. He goes to college, man. 6 months into being a poli-sci major, he turns a corner to me and he's like, yo, I'm coming to Possum Stock. And I was like, why the hell are you coming to Possum Stock? Because he's got long hair, a septum piercing, and he fucking hates the government now. I was like, well,
that's based.
I said, we went from you, the whole family, thinking you were going to be like, oh, he's going to join the military. That's what he's going to do. He's a J-Rotzi kid. No, bro. Started piercing everything, growing his hair out. He's like, fuck the government.
Turned out better.
That's it. He was at Possum Stock last summer. He was working on the crew.
Oh, okay.
For one kid with long hair, like an obnoxiously huge septum piercing.
I know. I've seen him.
I tell everybody, I'm like, bro, the one with the fucking bull race, my brother.
Sidney went, I know, I've seen him.
Yeah. He's going to the Kublai Khan show, man. We're going to see Kublai Khan metal show. He went completely from being like, fucking, I'm going to be in the military. Like, we're going to fucking see Kublai Khan. I'm like, all right, bro, let's go.
Let's fucking do it.
Love it. Love it.
Alice, link to Sell It. Sell It
will be out.
Is out now is when you're watching this. Link below, check that out. And come to Underdog on April 5th to see this guy and a lot of other great bands play. Thank you again, gentlemen. I think
thank you, man.
I think in its own modest way, I think what we did tonight's important. So
definitely, absolutely, and I'm already looking forward to number 2.
Yeah,
man.
Edition 2 comes next time. I'll get Dusty. Dusty's
stuff.
Been talking about coming on again soon, so we'll get Dusty in on the mix next time.
Dude, love it, great.
All right, Alice. We'll see you next week.